Hello there. Sorry for the wait. I assume you've come for a tarot card reading? Yes. No, I don't think we've met before. Oh, I see. You've heard about my, most unconventional style of readings. That's good. I suppose that means I don't need to explain very much about it. Except for the fact that, many people who come for tarot card readings do try to look more into their future, and I've always been a bit of the mind that there's not really a real purpose to doing that. I mean, rather, it's more all about the personal aspect of it, that, as far as events in our future, the real thing that we can control is ourselves, and there's so many things going on in a person's head or their actions that they might not even be very aware of the influence that they can have. So I usually think about, when I do my readings, a person's own aspects and that sort of thing. But if you already understand that, then that's great, and we can just kind of go right into it. Let's see here. Let's see. Do you already have a good idea of what your purpose is coming here today? Oh, really? Oh, you've heard of the, my special reading. That's very interesting. Yeah, well, as it kind of went along, I'm the kind of person that tends to try to be original. So I did end up making my own tarot card reading. That's very true. I mean, I've got here such as the Celtic Cross spread and the Daily spread, but that's very true. I did make up my own. Actually, I've got my book here. Just a moment. My memory is not as up to date as it could have been, but I do have here in my notes. Yes, actually, this. To be honest, not many people have seen this before. It's a Book of Shadows. I haven't looked through it in ages. Ideas and things that I tried out when I was younger, we'll say. I had a very impressionable mind and a very interesting roommate at one point who tried all sorts of different rituals and things. But, there we go. I actually recorded in it an 8-card spread based on the ideas of chaos that we can totally do today. It would actually be very beneficial for me to explore this again. Alright, so basically each of the 9 cards that I lay out have kind of a connotation. Yeah. About your place in the universe, the past, the present, that sort of thing. And to a certain degree, what sorts of things you should have on your mind in the coming trials that you're going to be facing. So, why don't we just begin? And I'll just keep this on my lap for right now. And I'll try and use it for you. Now, I've only ever done it in context with myself. So let's have a quick little shuffle here and try to see what comes up. In my readings, remember, just because I have a certain interpretation of the cards, doesn't mean that that's necessarily right. Let's go with this one here. Whatever insights you might have are equally, if not more, valid. So the first card that I'll place down is symbolic of your positional role in the coming future. And we have here the Two of Cups, which is very interesting. It's not, for example, a major arcana, so I'd say that as far as your positional role, well, at the same time, it's definitely a card which symbolizes two figures, most likely romantically interested. In today's world, that doesn't necessarily mean male and female. The cups, of course, represents emotions, though, so I would say that in whatever is coming next, there is some sort of romantic involvement for you. Or at least you feel like you're going to be very emotionally attached to what'll be coming up. Now, this is going to be an 8-card reading, so consider the cards all in context of what I say they mean and in relation to each other as a whole. And the second one here would be whatever your goal would be. And that'll go right next to this one. And in this case, that is death. Card number 13. The skeletal figure who rides on a white horse. My, oh my. Death is not necessarily negative, but it's a very big game changer. This probably means that your goal in your future endeavor is to very well destroy some aspect of yourself and make way for some greater change. It's a very interesting card. Usually negative. Again, destroying things is not necessarily bad. It leaves room for growth. I don't want to say too much about these two cards in conjunction with each other, but very well there could be some emotional trouble that you're facing. And so you're going to have to be looking into that. Now, at the same time, although this is your goal, right, it's something that you're trying to achieve, the thing that's going against that is the Five of Cups. This position over here is the competing goal. Now, this is all stuff that I've made up, but at the same time, it's not like tarot card reading isn't itself kind of made up. So take that as you will. I know that coming to see me in my unconventional nature, you understand this, but I do like to point that out every so often, since I'm not particularly an expert. The Five of Cups. Now, the fives are strong, how I say, negative type cards. In this case, you'll notice in the five, the battle has been lost, is essentially what I get from this. Not exactly physically, but definitely emotionally, considering it is cups. The sky is as bleak as one could assume it could be. Now that's the competing goal, as in, while you are striving towards the death card, this is what is hindering you. So perhaps your feelings about the past are what are getting in your way. And it's not necessarily some other people. It could be the thing in your mind that itself is hindering you. Let's continue. Maybe the rest of this will shed more light. Now, the next position, number 4, I have determined to be the force that you must overcome. And in this case, your card will be Judgment. Oh my goodness. A very strong card indeed, considering all that has arisen. Another, you'll notice even here, the trumpet itself has a kind of a look of the cups about it. I'm not entirely sure what your future holds at this moment, but I can tell from these cards that it's a very strong and very personal one. Let me just look up what judgment itself means before we continue. According to this book here. A winged messenger in the heavens heralds liberation with a blazing trumpet and brings resurrection to the men and women rising towards it. It symbolizes karma, resurrection again, renewal, revival. It's possible to make a new start, but you need to take stock of things before moving forward again can be positive. New beginnings, again. That's the force to be overcome, though. Very interesting. It seems like there might be something coming between you and your romantic interest, if I am to believe that's what's happening. And of course, after the knowing that a new beginning is what you're somehow fighting against. The force that's hindering that would be the next card here, placed in this position. And it is the Ten of Swords. Ooh. As you'll notice, it symbolizes a person hurt in a field with the 10 swords directly above him. Well, there are a lot of negative things coming out in this reading as far as I'm aware. What does the Ten of Swords mean? I don't want to give you too much of a negative thing, but it represents a feeling of loss due to the ending of a difficult situation. Ready for a new beginning? Yes. I look at that card and I think something like the end of a conflict, perhaps an illness, something like that. Let's continue here. The rest of it may, well, enlighten me to what's going on. Position number 5 has been laid. 1, 2. Now the force that's unknown to you comes next in my reading, and it fits in right here next to your competing goal. The Devil. Goodness. I don't want to say I'm very unconfident about what these cards mean, but these are very strong symbols coming out. You'll notice this figure with the horns and his eyes are hidden. Of course, I believe this is the innermost desires of a person. You'll see the figure is in fact wreathed in flames. I would, again, recommend we just look at the book real quickly, just to confirm my suspicions here. The Devil. Yes. Often it appears when a situation is dragging you down and you feel helpless to change it. It is a form of enslavement, such as to an idea or a manipulative or controlling relationship. It may be that overindulgence is leading to greed or lust that is self-destructive. It may be that there's a great element of secrecy around you. Very interesting. Again, if this is to deal with some relationship that you're in, it might say that the unknown is that you're actually being manipulated. I don't mean to say such things because, again, I don't judge people. I try not to. Anyway, this is just what the cards are coming forward to say, I believe. And I would want everyone to be happy, but perhaps if this is the unknown, so in your relationship, it may be very well that you don't know that you are more of a passive role, and in fact you're not able to express yourself, or perhaps your partner might not always have your best interests in mind. And that is a bit of a stretch for me to say, but just judging from all the other cards, that's what they're lending themselves to tell me. Now, the next position is what you've already overcome. Or at least what the cards want you to realize is something that you've already defeated. Which in this case I have the Six of Swords, which is always symbolized to me as somewhat fortuitous journey. Like you've already gotten past perhaps the experience, I would say. Looking forward to the future, that's what has already happened. There are only 2 more cards for you to place in this 9-card reading. The next one symbolizes what will be, or rather, what is about to happen. And in this case, it is strength, a card that I've always questioned, I suppose. For, as you'll notice, the woman has the lion by her side in not exactly a submissive pose, but it is somewhat of holding back, rather. Staying one's hand, that sort of thing. And finally, maybe I'll come back to that, the very last one is the card that's supposed to link all of this together. Or rather, what I've decided. I think I decided that having 2, 4, 6, 8 cards wasn't exactly enough. There needed to be a last binding force. I'll let you choose that from all of these here. Yes, that'll be fine. And you've chosen the Ace of Cups. Fascinating, really, that would, in fact, be the binding force for all of this. Really does have emotions and cups at the forefront. The ace, in fact, is the strongest of all of that sort of connotation. To look that up real quick is very simple. Aces symbolize new beginnings. The water element represents emotions. So it's the start of a new relationship, love, happiness, or renewal. This might actually change the whole outlook of it, which is very interesting for why, for some reason in my 8-card reading, I decided to place it last rather than first. At the same time, it does reveal a lot of things, doesn't it, about the sorts of elements playing out here in your reading. This has always been kind of a bigger sort of picture for me. Let me just look up what strength means again, because that one eludes me somewhat. It's never been particularly resonant with me as a reader, so I just like to investigate that. Strength itself says here, patience, diplomacy, courage will acquire the results and bring you success in more of a subdued feminine kind of way. Now, I've always been of the opinion that it doesn't matter what gender a person is that I'm reading for, it'll just sort of happen. So considering what all of these cards mean, it really comes down to whether, I know you didn't, I did ask you not to tell me much of your personal details, and that you would kind of fill in the blanks with yourself. So whether you're in a new relationship now, or you're heading into a new stage of it with your significant other, it's very interesting that your past conflicts are what are getting in the way of you finding that absolutely new path that seems to be your goal. You're definitely on the forefront considering emotions and where you're headed, and the unknown happens to be that you're feeling, or that you are, in fact, being enslaved by perhaps lust or secret desires that you would rather keep hidden. What you've gotten past, of course, is that resurrection and that sense that you're perhaps irredeemable, which is good. The problem is that depression here that I'm getting out of the Ten of Swords is not that easily beaten. But, of course, you've traveled a long way in the journey that is your life. Optimism seems to be another sort of factor in here that's being a little bit hidden by perhaps the amount of fear you've got. But, again, what you need to succeed with this goal of yours of perhaps being a better person, like being perhaps not incredibly different from yourself, but just getting to that different stage in your life, is that card that didn't quite stand out at first. It's strength. You know, you have the tools. That always seems to come out, that you have the tools to change your future, as long as you realize the kinds of things that you need to overcome and deal with before you can get to where you want to go. Does that make a lot of sense to you? I'm not saying that you're a person that doesn't feel a lot of empathy for others or such. When in this kind of reading, it does delve into your personal mental state rather than that of your partner. But anyway, that's my chaos spread, as I've called it. Chaos itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. It simply means being open to all possibilities, and I kind of made this spread to kind of bring up an awareness of at least the path that you're choosing to go on and the sorts of things that might not quite hinder you, but will be in your path along that journey. I tried to look at this a bit objectively. This, again, although maybe you're not even in kind of a relationship kind of mindset right now, but looking at what the cards are telling me with all of the cup and sword connotations, as well as the both death and the devil, with judgment involved, I'm pretty secure in what I believe the cards have been trying to tell you. Again, I'm just a reader. Whatever these things have come out and tell you is extremely important as well. And hopefully some of this has resonated with you and will help you in the different days to come. I mean, for all I know, it could even mean No, I'm very secure as a person in saying what this means. And actually, if you've got any insights into what you also would say, I'd really be interested in hearing that afterwards. Because again, I know I told you not to give me any hints because I figure this sort of thing should be able to be done objectively. But yeah, no, let me know what you think. And I hope this has been some help to you, or at least, you know, helped you pass the time in a fun way, because tarot cards, again, are somewhat of a game, and at the very least, it lets you help think about your life in a different way, and if it can give you anything out of that, well then, more power to you, as one of my formative English professors once said. Thanks again for stopping by, and all the best of luck to you in your travels.